Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, in this video, we would like to present our presentation about genres in drama, tragedy, and comedy. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Siti Kusul Kotima, and here I am a moderator. So, let's enjoy our presentation.
What is comedy drama? Comedy, in temporary meaning of the term, is any discourse or work generally intended to be humorous or to amuse by inducing laughter, especially in theater, television, film, and stand-up comedy. Comedy presents plot situations more probable than those of farce, most serious and believable, but not threatening or fatal. The characters are not the complete stereotypes that people versus. They are socially recognizable, slightly individualized, so we can laugh at or with them with some concern for their predicament. The laughter of comedy may be laughter at wit, the epigram, the telling exchange, the contest for cleverness between sophisticated people, as in Comedy of Manners. Okay guys, now let's I explain with bahasa for make sure you are understand about drama comedy. Jadi, dapat dikatakan bahwa drama komedi merupakan suatu karya sastra yang ditampilkan atau dipertontonkan dengan alur atau jalan cerita yang di dalamnya mengandung unsur-unsur berupa hiburan. Drama komedi juga menjadi salah satu karya sastra yang dapat memberikan kesan gembira atau bahagia kepada para penontonnya. Dan drama komedi merupakan drama yang membuat orang-orang tertawa lepas, bahagia dengan suatu perilaku atau kejadian yang disuguhkan dalam sebuah jalan cerita. Komedi memiliki ciri-ciri sebagai berikut, yaitu yang pertama, mungkin mereka memerankan suatu subjek yang serius dan mungkin pula suatu subjek yang ringan, memerankan kejadian yang mungkin dan seakan-akan terjadi, dan segala yang terjadi muncul dari tokoh dan bukan dari situasi. Kelucuan yang dihasilkan merupakan sejenis humor yang serius dan bukan kelucuan yang dibuat-buat. Jadi ada kesan sendiri ketika kita menonton hiburan berupa drama.
Okay, and the next is tragedy. What is tragedy? Tragedy is a genre of story in which a hero is brought down by his or her own flaws, usually by ordinary human flaws, flaws like greed, over ambition, or even an excess of love, honor, or loyalty. In any tragedy, we start with the tragic hero, and usually in his prime, the hero is successful, respected, and happy, but he has some tragic flaw that will ultimately cause his downfall. Usually, the plot of the story follows a gradual descent from greatness to destruction. It's especially important that the hero ends up isolated from all of his friends and companions. And the end, we feel deep sadness and pity, also called pathos for the hero, but we also feel a sense of understanding. The story warns us to guard against the ordinary flaws that brought down the hero. And tragedies might be the oldest form of storytelling in the Western traditions. The earliest known Greek plays are all tragedies, and many Greek philosophers believed that tragedy was the highest form of literary art. And no one is really sure why people has a historical love tragedies so much. If you think about it, it is a little odd. Why would we want to experience all the emotions of sadness and pity that tragedies bring up? Okay, of course, some people do, but tragedy has an enduring power in a literature that show deep and lasting popularity. The most well-known theory is Aristotle's idea of catharsis. Aristotle argued that tragedies give us a feeling of catharsis, or the release of pent-up emotions. As we go through life, we store up negative emotions, bottling them up. As we might say no, Aristotle believed that a good tragedy was a productive, safe way to release those negative emotions.
Types of comedy. 1. Low and high comedy. While low comedy is a simple and basically more expressive form, it is also easier to understand and caters to a larger number of readers. High comedy is more refined and sophisticated form of comedy. 2. Situational comedy. Situational comedy involves use of a well-crafted sequence of event and plot twice, which created moment of hilarity. 3. Comedy of ideas. Comedy of ideas is a form of high comedy where ideas are represented through particular personalities and character, and there is usually a clash or collision between differing ideas or point of view. 4. Slapstick. Slapstick as low comedy is all about fall and knockdown, collision, and catapults. 5. Farce. Farce is a form of comedy where all logic is suspended and anything bizarre is welcome. It involves insane and unrealistic condition, action, and audacious situation. 6. Satire. Satire is a widely popular format where things and situations are criticized and ridiculed to earn a few laughs. The next is still about types of comedy. 7. Parody. Parody is a form where imitation is done with a humorous twist. 8. Burlesque. Burlesque employs caricaturization of ideas to invoke humor. 9. Stand-up. This involves a single person performing comical acts in front of microphone or camera in order to earn a few laughs from the live or recorded audience. 10. Black comedy. Black comedy differs mainly in terms of the subject matter it tackles and discusses. These include politics, society, religion, etc. This genre is also called tragic comedy. 11. Others. There are some revitalized forms of comedies as well that basically invoke a certain and specific emotional response from the readers. These include romantic comedy, musical comedy, etc.
Now we are continuing to discuss about tragedy. Before we discuss about tragedy, you need to know the information about the purpose of tragedy. For your information, the purpose of tragedy is to purify the emotions, feelings, and raise the audience morally. Tragedy deals with the dark side of life, and other character inside are involved in the circumstance that impel them towards an unhappy fate. You can take a look to the PowerPoint slide. There are several types of tragedy. The first one is Greek tragedy. People sang choric songs in the skin of gods and appeared as woodland deities in human form. So the Greek tragedy originated from the religious worship of Greek. Thus, Greek tragedy was a harmonious antithesis of all arts. Aristotle considered part and character. The second one is Roman tragedy. It is quite different from Greek tragedy. Roman tragedy is the development of earlier tragedies and is of great critical and historical value. From one point of view, Roman tragedy is unjust to apply the usual standard of criticism to Senecan tragedy. The third one is Elizabeth tragedy. Almost all the tragedies of this time contained the fall of great, and it usually had 5 acts. And early Elizabethan prose tragedies, which had differs from in and. The next one is heroic tragedy. Heroic tragedy is the development of earlier tragedies and is of great critical and historical value. The impression of the genre is chiefly stressed in heroic tragedies. They force their heroes to speak bombastic speeches that fail to conceive us. The next is horror tragedy. This kind of tragedy brings the actor much close to the comedy of intrigue because in both of the tragedies appeal to the audience is made by no means of the dramatic persona, but it means of indecence on the stage. The last one is domestic tragedy. Domestic tragedy is quite a different genre of tragedies, not because of the stress laid on one element or other, but owing to its subject matter that is special one. For additional information, actually, tragedy needs an atmosphere of majestic grandeur, and in several domestic plays, it is completely lacking. The London Merchant cannot be called a tragedy of any age of literary history because it has low and uninspiring tone. This is the end of the tragedy presentation. Thank you.